How long have I been doing the cat eye eyeliner or the wing-tipped eyeliner? Probably like 8 years now. Yeah. Goodness gracious. It's funny because I remember back in like middle school or high school when you would go to your friend's house and their mom would have, you know, the bright pink eyeshadow or bright blue eyeshadow all the way up to their eyebrow, and you just kind of chuckle and think, oh my gosh, they're just, you know, living in the past and not moving with the times. But ironically, I think that's gonna be me, only it'll be liquid wing-tipped eyeliner.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like.
Hey there, fashion friends. So today we are looking at how to elevate your styling for your outfits. How we are going to do that in today's episode is with balance. I've talked about balance quite a bit on my episodes because one of the things I think is most important when it comes to style, if you want like an all-around pulled together look, is balance. Obviously there are the exceptions to the rule of people who just, you know, go to one extreme and just own it. If you're not choosing to sort of own one of those extremes, then balance is really the best way to go to really elevate a look. I'm gonna go through 5 steps that you can implement when you're choosing an outfit to make sure that you have balance in your outfit. It'll also help you ensure that certain pieces are gonna be the showpiece, are gonna be what's pulling people in and not being distracted from a bunch of other stuff happening. Okay, so with that, let's get started. Let's get into it. So, step 1 is to pick your anchor piece. This could really be anything. This could be, maybe it's a novelty blouse. Maybe it's like a velvet corduroy blazer, you know, something with a really luscious texture that really just stands out. Maybe it's like a really cool, just rad graphic t-shirt. Or maybe it's some amazing pair of statement shoes. So the example that I'm going to be using for my anchor piece today is my Nike Air Jordan Explorers. What I love about this sneaker is it's kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone for one, but I was totally pulled in by the stylistic aspect of it, the unique textures, the unique materials used, and of course the amazing green color. So this is an anchor piece to me because it's special. It's a special piece because it's unique and definitely stands out on its own already. Everything that I'm styling with that sneaker is helping to really showcase it versus distract from it. And step 2 is pick your anchor's counterpoint or opposite. Okay, so what I mean by this is, if we're talking about my Nike Air Jordans, for example, what am I gonna wear on the top as my top to be the counterpoint or the opposite to these sneakers? I think, okay, these are more casual, sporty, kind of youthful. So the top, I want it to be its counterpoint in the sense that I want it to be sophisticated, maybe a little more classic, maybe somewhat dressy to counteract that casualness of the shoe. So for today, I picked my Pima Cotton turtleneck from Everlane because I just think it's a very flattering top that's super sophisticated and classic. So I think it'll be a great juxtaposition to the Nike Air Jordan Explorer. Step 3 is choosing the middle of the road piece. So in this case, we're looking at the bottoms because we've got shoes, we've got a shirt. Girl can't be walking outside with no pants on. So you could go one way or the other. You know, with this look, maybe you could go with jeans, maybe you could go with like a really nice pair of trousers and you would still get a pretty nice balanced look, but you just kind of have to be careful then once you go through the next steps. I'm gonna put this with my Everlane Easy Chino, just an easy silhouette that could go either way. So I think it's a perfect middle of the road piece to add onto this look. Number 4 is the top off piece. So with this, I think you can kind of go anywhere with this. My suggestion would normally be you're going to choose one end of the spectrum. So if you've got casual on one end and super dressy on the other end, you're gonna pick from one of those categories to be your top off piece. And once you add on this top off piece, it just basically rounds out, kind of frames the look and just completely ties it all together. So for this look for today, I'm going with my Everlane overcoat because I do feel like it's a little bit more on the dressier, sophisticated end of the spectrum. Yeah, it just pulls the whole look together. The lines of it are really long and lead all the way down to the shoe, and therefore it frames the shoe. And step 5, accessories. Don't worry, accessories, we're not forgetting about you. So with the accessories, you don't want to tip the scale. For me, I think that accessories really need to be well thought out. They need to be very intentional. So I would always say, look at your final look and even ask yourself, do I even need accessories? Are they even needed in this case? Is my look already enough as it is without accessories? Now, obviously, you know, like sometimes you gotta have a purse or, you know, maybe a hat if it's cold out or something. So the question you wanna ask yourself before you add accessories is this gonna be an accent to my look, or is this gonna distract from my look? Some people would want to default to adding a belt, but really step back and take a look and see, do I really need a belt? Is it necessary to the functionality of my jeans, of holding my jeans up? Is it going to, you know, elevate the look anymore? Or is it gonna distract from the look? Sometimes with belts, I think they're an amazing way to tie a look together. Maybe it's you're wearing, you know, all like a black top, black sweater with jeans, and then you've got some brown shoes. Adding the brown belt ties those brown shoes into the look and really pulls the whole look together. So that makes sense to have the brown belt. With jewelry, it's definitely a little bit more flexible. You know, adding rings or bracelets isn't necessarily gonna make or break it, but then I would say make sure you're not adding so much jewelry that it's then taking away from the anchor piece or the pieces that you're trying to really showcase. I think sometimes people are like, oh, but I want to showcase this, and this is my favorite piece, and I love this piece, and these are all my favorite pieces, so they're all a showpiece. But the issue is if you're wearing all these show pieces, people's eyes never land anywhere. So nobody ever actually gets to enjoy your showpiece. They just see a bunch of shenanigans. Right now, the whole, you know, layering necklaces and chains and stuff is really sort of a look in itself. So that's kind of a statement in itself. But when you see that look and see it work, it's usually with something that's very simple. Everything that's around that statement of the layered necklaces is very simple. And so that's the tricky thing, is that sometimes maybe it's the accessories that's your anchor piece. Keeping that scale balanced. And these are just some of my 5 steps or 5 rules that I use to keep that balance, keep that scale in check, and not to tip the scale one way or the other. And the reason why balance makes for such an elevated look is that there's so much more room for creativity. There's so much more room for uniqueness. If you just stay in one category, you end up looking like everybody else in that category. You know, so if I wore Nikes with, you know, some jeans, a t-shirt, and a sweatshirt, I'm gonna look like half, you know, the middle school down the street. So that's really where the elevated aspect comes into play. Because what I'm speaking about today is really just your sort of core, your sort of base steps to having a balanced look. But there's just so much room to play within those rules, within those steps. It's kind of like the idea of organized chaos. It's having some organization so that the chaos doesn't feel so overwhelming. So if you have a balanced look, you have the ability to really be able to play and step outside of that comfort zone without being obnoxious, if you know what I mean. All right, so that's it for today. Please comment below and let me know if this was helpful to you, if there's any other questions that you have, if there's anything else that you would like to see on this topic. I would love to hear from you. If you did like today's episode, give me that thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe for future weekly episodes if you haven't already. Okay, you have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will be chatting next week. Bye.